we're gonna try this again. My dog likes to talk a lot when I start rolling the video. It's not even that. Whenever I do any spirit work, she just yaps and yaps. So she's outside now. But yeah, just wanted to dial in, see how we're doing after that full moon. And there's our card. The heart. Hilarious. Why is that hilarious to me? I'm laughing. Here, let me get the light in there. Because our full moon was in Leo, and Leo rules the heart chakra. So here we are. I also think it's interesting because, so in this card, by the way, sorry, let me start. Few things. One, if you want to book a personal reading with me, I do that. So please personal message me. We can do astrology or we can do your cards. Second thing is I'm working with Kim Krans, Wild Known Unknown Archetypes deck. And I think that's what we're saying. And yeah, so that's that. So what something I love about this card, let me get the light there, is that you can see in the middle of this nest here. So first let's take a look at a few things with this card. I'm going to move you closer and more towards the light. So first thing when we look at this card is, what is the first thing that pops out to us? It's the color pink. Pink being the heart chakra, unconditional love, forgiveness, compassion. It's love. It's rose petals. So that is the scene that is set. And then the next thing that we see the most of is this beautiful bird's nest that's been made here, right? And it represents that emotional safety and that feeling of home that we have inside of our hearts. If we've bothered to create it, or it creates, it feels like a safe space to be when you are with loved ones, right? So it's your family unit. It's a space that you create with your loving partner. And it's the space that ultimately is your responsibility to maintain, uphold, keep, and tend to. And I really love it because it's not just dead sticks. There's these beautiful flowers and woven grasses and stuff. And so it really represents or symbolizes or calls forth or calls into this wild nature that is available to the heart, and yet still so soft and gentle and innocent. Even though it's a bunch of sticks that are dried and hard and wiry, somehow there's still softness and comfort and support, almost like being in a cozy blanket, even though you're looking at sticks, right? So there's just this feminine wildness and softness to it at the same time that creates that nest within the heart and that home within the heart, that emotional safety. And also because it creates a boundary. We see outside of this nest, there's not a whole lot going on. It's just these beautiful pink colors. And it's all about what's in the nest because it creates a boundary. And so just another call out to how important it is that we do have boundaries. They do keep us safe when they are in alignment. We don't just leave our car doors and our house doors open for anyone to walk in at any time. No, there's reasonable, healthy boundaries that keep us safe and likewise keep our hearts safe and keep the inner child that we always walk with in that safety, because we are always walking that pattern of reparenting ourselves, remothering ourselves, rehoming ourselves. And that takes that tending to, just like one would always be stoking the fire and keeping that fire lit. One must too maintain this nest, the home, your emotional boundaries, your emotional safety, and what nourishes you, what brings you to that space of feeling so at home and comfort and safe that you can let your boundaries down when you're inside that holy womb and cocoons, And then the next layer that we have in is this beautiful boat here. It's two people on a canoe, I assume in the river. And I feel like that's really appropriate because in this full moon of Leo, it's conjunct Pluto. And I would hope that, and if you're not familiar with this idea, that when we pass, the boatman comes for us and you're meant to give him coins, as payment to bringing you into the proper realm of the underworld. And so while I wouldn't always extract that from this card in particular, I certainly do during this time period because of Pluto being there. And why is that important? Because Pluto is the lord of the underworld. And so while it can sound really romantic about having the underworld in that space in your heart, it's actually very challenging work. It can be very challenging work because it requires you, again, to step out of your pride, out of your ego, out of your own needs, out of your own self in that space, and allow yourself to surrender and be broken down into whatever Pluto sees fit, really, to go through your initiation and your transmutation and your transformation into something so much bigger and beautiful as a result of that initiation, although it may be through suffering, through the loss of your identity attachments, through the loss of your emotional safety, perhaps, maybe through the loss of connections that felt like family to you, maybe through the underworld and insecurity that always resides within our hearts. Will I be loved? Am I loving enough? Am I really lovable? Truly, I cannot be. I must be more loyal. Oh, I didn't do that hard enough. Maybe I wasn't more responsible enough to keep them around. Maybe I didn't work hard. Maybe I'm just not worthy. Maybe I'm just a piece of shit. Maybe I don't know how to love. Maybe I'm broken. That shady boat here can be all of those things at the very center in that water, but that water being the emotional realm and supporting that canoe, and it's quick, calm waters there. It looks still somehow held in peace. And there's this beautiful illustration here of like the rings of the cosmos. And there's often in this deck a shout out basically to the reflection, the sacred mirrorship of as above, so below, so within, so without. And so I do think of it as a gentle reminder that even those spaces and those holiest of nooks, as far as you can go down, there's still going to be that voice, that voice of hell, that voice of Pluto, that voice of the shadow that says, I've been denied, rejected, abandoned. I'm not enough. People have left me. I'm disgusting. I can't be loved. I'm not, what's the fucking point? I'm going to shut my heart down. And I get it because pain is freaking real and it's hard. But I just want you to know that it's a voice and it's a part of you, and it's being called into the space because it deserves more love, not less, and thank God there's somebody else in the boat with them, maybe having a conversation, being that sacred mirror of, no, honey, I love you. I see you. And I want all of you. And you're not a piece of shit. And you didn't do the worst thing a human being's ever done. And even if you did, you'd still be deserving. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you had the bravery and the courage to sit yourself down in your own heart and looked at every demon, every single one, the one that was embarrassed that you made out with that girl when you were 5, or the one that stole that thing from that person, or maybe you molested somebody, like maybe murdered somebody, maybe, I don't know, and you don't need to tell me, and that's work between you, God, and maybe a sponsor and a therapist. And I'm not saying, any of these things are okay within like society and stuff. Like I don't want to go there. But what I'm saying is that there is love for all of these pieces. Where there is light, there is shadow. Where there's emptiness, there is fullness. And where there is pain, there is a need to be loved. A call to be loved into something more whole. And it's healing. We all deserve it. And so we're being called in this time to do deep excavating work right now with Pluto. So if anyone could be in this boat inside the nest of your heart, I would challenge you to look at it in one way of like, what is the peace and safety and the peace and safety that you have managed to create in your emotional heart space realm, in your heart chakra, your emotional safety that allows you to be able to have these conversations, this really tough conversations with yourself, and with a heart of compassion and with a voice of compassion, you know, knowing that everything's totally fine. Yeah, we're having some tough conversations with ourselves or in our relationships and community, and it's important to create this safe space and boundary and container around it so that we can talk about the fucking hard stuff, you know, and know that it's still going to be okay. Still know we're going to get out of the boat and we're going to dip our toes in that water and we are going to feel that fresh air. And at the end of the day, this person is still walking beside you, you know, and then vice versa. And it is all a reflection of what is happening in the universe on so many different dimensions. And we always think it's so personal and it's so much about us. And we're just these tiny little electromagnetic zings that think we're in these meat suits with minds and bodies, living these lives that are so big, and that is true too. But just like this micro-macum cosmic thing, it's just showing our right relationship, right? We are always healing on behalf of each other, always expanding, always coming around. And there is always space for more love. You know, doesn't matter how much shame or guilt or strangulation or alienation or exile. Maybe it just takes a lot of time, and maybe not in this lifetime, you know, but Pluto is a deep seat of the soul. That's why this is very important. And yeah, maybe that is a practice as we keep walking with that Leo full moon, new in Aquarius, so your community again, choosing who you're bringing into that safe space and where the boundaries are, right? And allowing that to be one of growth and organic mediation, if you will. Yeah, but also, like, can you create the time, space, and whatever it looks like to really nourish yourself and sit down with whatever demon, whatever. I'm just seeing like Hades is the one who's sitting down in the boat with you and having a chat too. It doesn't have to be like Hades is sitting there being a douchebag, like you did this. It can be like a mentor. Hades is a mentor. Pluto is a mentor, just as Venus, just as the sun, just as Saturn. They all have something to say. So if Leo is in the heart chakra, which is the sun and the child and your creative expression, maybe that inner child is feeling like he needs a boat ride with Pluto. I'm crushed and I don't know what to do. Take from me what's no longer serving me so I can shine bright. You know, and maybe the other conversation, Pluto can be like, yo, dude, I just needed a little sunlight in my world today. And I was looking at you. And I wanted to take you out on my boat and on this river because I don't get to do that very often. I just wanted to bask in your brilliance. Because sometimes I need that too. You know, so making no assumptions, but creating that safe space and being curious and allow. And we have no idea what grace and mercy and all the energies are doing on our behalf, seen and unseen, known and unknown. We might never. I like thinking that I'm going to see it all when I'm dead, and that's like the most exciting thing for me. I totally get off on gnosis, but I'm not there yet, so this is how I cope. I'll just do like a quick little extra clarification card because I know I'm getting up there for time and editing. Is that it? Is that literally just the card that's sitting right there? That's so funny. Interesting. So the card is Charity, and it is Saturn and Pisces, and I find that interesting. One, because we have a lot of the same pinks happening in the cards that does not happen that much. So we've got a lot of pinks in the cards. And what I like about the pinks in the cards is that they're in the angel clothing and it's very ethereal. And that very much matches this just abstract pink ethereal sort of space. So I kind of like that the angels are almost, you know, even though it looks formless and like nothing's happening, so much of the time we feel like nothing is supporting us and nothing is happening, when the reality it's like the angels are just, it's like the angels are in my freaking trailer seat bench, and I don't know, because I'm just seeing it in this lens, right? But if I just like put on my cool 3D angel glasses, like poof, there they are, angels in my seat cushion, like whoa. You know? So just like lending, just like coming into the reality, Saturn, you know, that there are angels in your freaking cushions. Pisces, imagination, dreams. It's also about building dreams and being charitable with your own dreams. Let yourself have them. That's part of what feeds the heart and inspires it, and then inspires others, and then it puts things into action. Living from that heart-centered space, you light up that light and people are drawn to it, and people know when you have created safe space for yourself too, because if they haven't in their own selves, they can feel it. It's like the mama, it's a bit of that Cancer, you know, too. So it's a really lovely pairing, I think, and just having charity of the heart. Right, we can talk about a lot of this underworld work. It's paired there with Saturn. Saturn is a doozy. It's about work and discipline, but also maturity. It's about maturity and facing your fears and coming out the other end a master. And then Pisces is being literally merged with all that one. It's the last one on the zodiacal wheel. It is everything together. So, anyway, my dog is barking at me. I'm just wondering, am I doing Cancer? No, it's freaking Libra, or Pisces rather. Or was that how, that's how you're doing Pisces? Shoot. With Cancer. So that's all bunged up. Saturn is there with Cancer. And Cancer, hilariously, it's about emotional safety and creating emotional comfort. So we're back on track. Saturn, discipline, boundaries, working towards creating Cancer, emotional realm, emotional safety, emotional intuitiveness, right? And that's how we've got the angels of the watery imaginal realm coming down and protecting and supporting and creating a living habitable space. That's how that works, you know, from the ethereal into the body, into the heart, and then into the house of the physical and vice versa, right? This house of the physical. So I think that's really beautiful, just maintaining your boundaries, you know, to create that safe space and all to do the hard work. You know, but also remember, as you're doing the hard work with Pluto there, that you are so supported, loved, blessed, and graced. Look at those angels. They're pretty awesome. Maybe they're building your nest while you're out in the boat with a Hades trying to get shit done. Anyway, that was much longer than I anticipated, as usual. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope you got something from that. And I hope that your day... that hopefully this brings you something in your day tomorrow. Just keep walking in step with your integrity and with your heart's alignment, and don't be afraid to make choices on a breath by breath moment according to what your body is feeling and telling you. Maybe not listen to this so much. So with that, I love you, I leave you, I thank you. Till next time.